My name is Lucy, and at 40 years old, at my daughter's 17th birthday, my sister smashed her iPhone, then called the cops on her. Both my parents fully sided with my sister, even signed a false police report. I didn't yell. I did this. 3 months later, my parents were panicking and my sister sorting garbage. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. I got the call just after sunset. Unknown number. I nearly let it go to voicemail. I don't pick up for spam, surveys, or accidental Amazon charges, but something in my gut said, answer it. Mom! It was my daughter Ellie, quiet, off, like she was holding her breath. I'm at the police station. Can you come get me? I stood up so fast I knocked into the cafe table. My husband paused mid-sentence. What? What happened? I'm fine. Just please come. I didn't do anything. Why are you calling from another number? Where's your phone? A pause. Then, Julie smashed it. Julie is my younger sister. I blinked. She did what? She smashed it, then she called the police on me. There was no sound in the cafe anymore, just the buzz of the overhead lights and my heartbeat thudding against my rib cage. Ellie, what do you mean she called the police? She said I pushed her. Did you? No, her voice cracked. She fell, but now she's saying I attacked her. I didn't ask anything else. I told her we were on our way. The drive was silent, fast, and felt 10 hours long. My husband gripped the wheel like it had wronged him personally. I just stared out the windshield and tried to keep my hands from shaking. I didn't even know Julie was coming tonight. We'd already helped Ellie set everything up. Music, lights, snacks, a few decorations, then gave her space. It's normal. It's what parents do when they trust their kid. She was supposed to have a good night, that's all. Not perfect, just good. Not this. Not the kind of night that ends in a police station. Not because of Julie. Not because her own aunt called the cops on her. When we walked into the station, everything felt off-kilter, like I'd stepped into the wrong version of my life. The fluorescent lights were too bright, the chairs too plastic, the waiting room too quiet. A young officer came out. He had a clipboard and the voice of someone who didn't want to be doing this. She's being released to you tonight, he said, barely glancing up. There's no charge yet. Then why is she here? There was an accusation of assault. She's under investigation. I didn't trust myself to respond to that. I just nodded. They brought Ellie out a few minutes later. She looked like someone had unplugged her. Her face was blotchy, her eyes puffy. She was holding a clear plastic bag inside, the shattered remains of her phone, like evidence from a crime scene. She didn't speak until we were back in the car. It was supposed to be a normal party, she said finally. Then she showed up. I didn't say anything. Neither did my husband. I told her I'd call you, and then she took my phone. She swallowed hard. And then she fell. She fell. I didn't touch her. I didn't do anything. Another pause. Now she's saying I shoved her, that I attacked her. I turned in my seat. Did anyone else see what happened? She hesitated. Some people were outside, but her friends backed her up. I nodded slowly. Then I said, You're not going to jail. But what if... You're not going to jail. She didn't believe me yet. That was okay. She didn't need to believe me. She just needed me to believe her. I faced forward again. The city lights streaked across the windshield. My husband took the next turn too fast. No one spoke. I didn't know exactly what happened yet. I didn't know how Julie ended up at the party. I didn't know why she was there or what she said or how it escalated. I just knew my daughter had been dragged to a police station on her birthday, and I knew who made that happen. I didn't yell. I didn't text. I didn't scream. But the second we pulled into the driveway, I went inside and started making a list. Julie made her move. Mine was next. If you're wondering how we got here, why my sister would smash my daughter's phone and then call the cops on her, well, let's rewind. Because this didn't start with Julie. Not really. It started years before she was born. My parents were both 17 when they had me. Not young and in love 17. Just careless and stuck. They didn't want a child. They definitely didn't want each other. And while no one ever said I ruined their lives, I got the message loud and clear. The looks, the sighs, the way they talked about what they could have done if things had been different. My mom partied a lot. My dad disappeared for stretches, then reappeared with new cologne and fresh arguments. They broke up and got back together more times than I can count. I spent most of my early life at my grandparents' house, quietly pretending that was normal. And then when I was 22, just when I thought they were done for good, they got back together. Not just together, in love. like holding hands at the grocery store, whispering to each other, planning weekend getaways, kind of in love. I didn't know what to do with that information. I honestly thought maybe one of them had joined a cult and dragged the other in. But no, they were serious. For real. They got married when my mom was 38. First time. I sat at the front table wondering if I was supposed to feel happy or just confused. Then came the baby plans. Apparently, their new beginning wasn't complete without a second chance at parenting, one where they actually wanted the child this time. It took a while. Fertility treatments, doctor visits, yoga, herbal nonsense that made the whole kitchen smell like wet leaves. And then it happened. My mom got pregnant at 39, and she was over the moon. She posted the ultrasound photo with the caption, "Miracle loading," and started saying things like, "It feels like I'm going to be a mom for the first time." Right, sure, first time, got it. Julie was born healthy, and from the moment she opened her mouth, it was clear this child would want for nothing. Monogrammed blankets, monthly milestone photos, organic everything. My mom became the kind of mother I used to see in parenting magazines and assume were fictional. I tried not to take it personally. They had more money now, more stability, more Pinterest boards. Maybe they were finally doing things the way they'd always wanted. So it's done. Watching your baby sister get the life you never had, from the same people, just older and more enthusiastic. Then, when Julie turned 1, I found out I was pregnant with Ellie. I was in a stable relationship. We had a plan. I told my mom over dinner, nervous but hopeful. I thought maybe this could be something we share. She looked at me, blinked, and said, "You're going to make me a grandmother before I'm 40?" No congratulations, no hug, just that. She backtracked later, said it was a joke, said she was thrilled, but she didn't show it. She didn't help with anything, didn't ask about names, didn't show up to my baby shower. She didn't even visit the hospital when Ellie was born. She texted a thumbs up emoji and said, "Call me when things settle." That was 17 years ago. Julie, in case it isn't clear, did not grow up well adjusted. I'm trying to be generous here, but she's a brat. She throws tantrums when she doesn't get her way. She's cruel in that quiet, performative way where you can't quite call it bullying, but it still leaves marks. She once told Ellie, "It's fine that you're basic. Not everyone has to be interesting." At school, she's known for drama, gossip, disrespecting teachers. One of those kids who thinks being blunt is a personality trait. And my parents, they enable all of it. Julie wants something. She gets it. Julie lashes out. She's just sensitive. Julie trashes someone online. You're taking it too seriously. Meanwhile, my daughter Ellie grew up watching all of this. Ellie, who is kind and thoughtful and mature beyond her years. Ellie, who planned her own birthday party down to the allergen labels and the playlist order. Ellie, who specifically said, "Please don't invite Julie." I respected that, and I meant to enforce it. But somehow, Julie showed up anyway. Now here we are. We didn't talk much on the drive home. Ellie sat curled up in the passenger seat, arms crossed, staring out the window like the outside world had personally offended her. I kept one hand on the wheel and the other clenched in my lap, willing myself not to cry or punch the dashboard. Neither would help. I've never picked up my daughter from a police station before, and I didn't expect the first time to involve her aunt calling the cops on her 18-year-old aunt, on her birthday. When we got home, I made her tea she didn't want and told her to breathe. Then I said, "Okay, start from the top, slowly this time." Ellie nodded. Her face was blotchy and pale, mascara still smudged under her eyes. She looked like a kid who'd just been mugged and blamed for the crime. She came with 2 of her friends, she said. I told them they weren't invited and they should leave, but they wouldn't. They acted like I was the rude one. I raised an eyebrow. "Julie brought backup?" Ellie gave a half shrug. "Maya and Brianna. They're in her class. Everyone at school knows they're not nice." That was the polite version. "Apparently they brought alcohol," she continued, "and loud music, and kept saying the party was lame and they were going to fix it. Julie was handing out drinks like she owned the place." I tried not to let my blood pressure rise audibly. "And you told them to stop?" "Yeah, I said they needed to leave. Then I said I was going to call Dad. And that's when she smashed your phone." Ellie nodded. She grabbed it out of my hand and slammed it on the patio, then said, "Oops, you really should be more careful with your cheap phone." My jaw locked. And then I asked, though I already knew what was coming. She turned around and slipped, going down the steps totally on her own, and then started screaming that I pushed her. Ellie's voice cracked, and her friends backed her up. They were like, "Yeah, we saw it. Wait, like they rehearsed it or something." I took a deep breath, then another, and then I remembered. Wait, I said, the camera. What? The security camera, the one facing the back garden. We put it up after the neighborhood kids kept jumping the fence to take TikToks in the hydrangeas. Ellie blinked. You think it caught it? I hope to God it did. We went to my husband's office and pulled up the footage. The interface was clunky, but I fast-forwarded through the motion-triggered clips until I found the right one. Early evening, the tail end of golden hour, and there they were, Julie in all her overdressed glory, flanked by Maya and Brianna, each holding something that was definitely not sparkling water. The three of them strolled into the garden like they were filming a teen soap opera. Ellie opened the door and stepped out, tense but calm. She spoke. They shrugged. Julie rolled her eyes. Then came the music. One of them pulled a speaker out of her bag like she was the entertainment. Another handed a drink to a confused guest. And then there it was. Ellie reaching for her phone, Julie snatching it, a clear, two-handed overhead slam onto the bricks. The sound wasn't captured. Our camera didn't record audio, but it didn't have to. You could see the phone bounce. And then Julie wobbling toward the patio steps, slipping on nothing but her own ego, arms flailing as she tumbled like a one-woman stunt show. She landed, clutched her elbow, and started shouting. Maya and Brianna rushed over dramatically. Ellie stood frozen, hands up like someone being held at gunpoint. I turned to Ellie. That's it. That's everything. She looked like she might cry again. But will it matter? It will, I said, standing up. We're not done. I grabbed my phone and opened Facebook out of reflex. That's when I saw it. A new post from my mother. No photos, just text. Please pray for my sweet Julie. She was assaulted tonight by someone we trusted and is now in the hospital being monitored for a possible fracture. We're heartbroken and shaken. Our family needs time to heal. My blood went cold. The comments were pouring in. Oh my God, poor Julie. I can't believe what happened. Sending love, Julie is such a light. I read them out loud to Ellie until she whispered, stop. So I did, and then I did something I hadn't done in months. I called my mother. She picked up immediately. Well, I assume you saw the post. I did, I said, and I also saw the footage. Julie wasn't pushed. She slipped, and she smashed Ellie's phone before that. Pause, then, you're seriously going to take her side? After what your sister's been through? I blinked. My sister, who crashed my daughter's birthday and brought booze to a party full of minors? My sister, who faked an assault? She's in the hospital, my mother hissed. She's traumatized, and now you're adding insult to injury. I held the phone away from my face and took a breath. Then I said, I'm sending you the video. No, don't. Too late, already sent. I hung up. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. I answered. You think you're clever, my mother snapped. You really think I'm that stupid? I said nothing. That video is fake, obviously fake, edited. God knows what you and your husband did to it. I froze. Excuse me? Everyone knows he's a video editor. You probably used some AI crap to make Julie look bad. Do you want to destroy your family? I didn't answer. Listen to me, she continued, breathless with rage. If you try to send this to the police, if you try to cause trouble for poor Julie, you're no daughter of mine. Don't come to me crying when you realize what you've done. I said very calmly, Julie lied. You know it. You saw it. Goodbye. She spat and hung up. I stared at the screen for a moment, then set my phone down like it might explode. It wasn't the threat that got to me. It was the fact that I showed her the truth, and she looked right at it and chose the lie. And suddenly, everything made sense. I didn't sleep that night, not because I was scared, because I was furious. You can scream at someone, or you can call a lawyer. I picked the latter. By 9:07 the next morning, I had an appointment, and by 4 p.m., my lawyer had the footage, witness statements from Ellie's two friends, and a very polite plan to press charges. Not aggressive, just factual. Civil and criminal, for property damage, trespassing, and filing a false police report. Ellie didn't say much while we gathered everything. She looked tired, like someone who had spent her birthday being accused of assault and was now waiting for adults to do the right thing. I promised her we would. 3 days later, I got a call from the detective handling the case. Hi, he said. I just wanted to let you know we received several written statements today, from your sister Julie and from your parents. I blinked. My parents? Yes, all three claim that Julie was pushed down the stairs, and both parents say they witnessed the push firsthand. I paused. I'm sorry, what? They've signed formal statements under penalty of perjury. I nearly dropped my phone. They weren't even there, I said. They weren't at the party. They weren't even invited. I'm just telling you what we received, he said carefully. I thanked him, hung up, and sat down like my knees gave out. Because what the hell do you even do with that? I had seen some spectacular lies in my life, but signing a legal document swearing you watched your granddaughter push your daughter down the stairs when you were across town, that was bold. That was something else entirely. And unfortunately for them, something provably false. See, my parents weren't just not at the party. They were very visibly not at the party. That same night, they claimed they saw Ellie push Julie down the stairs. My mom was holding a jar of jam at her favorite overpriced boutique. I didn't even have to dig. She was tagged in a photo, smiling mid-sample, holding something called Mango Meditation. The timestamp? 7:41 p.m., the exact time she supposedly witnessed the fall from our backyard. She even commented, "Always a treat, love supporting local." I sent it to our lawyer. Her reply, "Beautiful, that's a confession with a fruit garnish." Then my dad. Because the universe has a dark sense of humor, he had left a public Google Maps review of a cafe down the street at the same time. Good espresso, service slow. Between the digital footprints and the boutique's internal security footage, we had everything we needed to prove they weren't anywhere near our house. And then came the final punch. A neighbor came forward, said he'd run into my mom and dad that evening while walking his dog, 10 blocks away. He'd even messaged them after they posted about the incident, saying he was confused. He'd spoken to them around the same time. My mom left him on red. Our lawyer packaged it all. Screenshots, timestamps, metadata. A sworn statement from the neighbor. And a forensic report verifying the security footage was untouched, not edited, not filtered, not deep-faked. The file was handed over to the police with one line of summary. Not only did my client's daughter not push anyone, but 3 adults also knowingly filed a false witness statement. We didn't hear anything for a few days. Then a call. The charges against Ellie were dropped, formally, completely, and with a verbal apology from the officer who had processed her and Julie. She was offered a deal. No trial if she took accountability. She accepted. 60 hours of community service, mandatory alcohol education, restitution for Ellie's phone. She didn't even look at us in the mediation room, wore sunglasses indoors, like a celebrity allergic to consequences. And my parents? They were fined for filing false statements. It wasn't jail time, but it was enough to sting, enough to make them publicly uncomfortable, and poetic enough that our lawyer cracked a rare smile. But then came the part I didn't expect. I thought they'd retreat, be humiliated, go quiet. They doubled down. My mom posted a public status. This is what happens when truth is punished and lies are rewarded. Julie is healing. Our family has been torn apart by jealousy and manipulation. We won't be silenced. The comments were mixed. One of Ellie's classmates replied, "You mean when someone brought booze to a party they weren't invited to and smashed a phone?" Another added, "I saw the footage. Y'all are crazy." And then, quietly at first, more people started speaking up. My aunt texted, "We saw the video. I'm so sorry. We believed them at first. We won't make that mistake again." My cousin wrote, "Your mom needs help. Real help." Even my father's golfing buddy, who I didn't even know had Facebook, commented, "I hope the girl is okay. This is embarrassing." I thought maybe, just maybe, my mother would finally take the post down. Nope. She posted a second one about AI manipulation and how deepfakes were tearing families apart. She implied Ellie had a history of being unpredictable and jealous. I wanted to scream. Instead, I blocked her. Blocked them both. Because here's the thing. It's one thing to be wrong. It's another to be shown the truth in 1080p, time-stamped, authenticated, and still choose the lie. I told Ellie we were done. No contact. No explanations. No back and forth. Just silence. She looked at me and asked, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure. We're not going to court again. We're not going to play their game. They had a chance to stop. They doubled down, and they lost." And for the first time in weeks, she let out this tiny exhale, like she'd been clenching her whole body since the night of the party, like she finally believed it was really over. We didn't throw a party. We didn't go out. We stayed home, made pancakes with too much whipped cream, laughed about Julie possibly cleaning toilets for her service hours, still pretending her arm was injured. We watched a movie together, then another. I didn't even check my phone. And when Ellie went to bed, she paused at the top of the stairs and said, Thanks for standing up for me. I didn't say anything clever, just nodded, because that's what you do for your kid, even when it's your own family you're standing against, especially then. It's been 8 months. Julie finished her community service at a local recycling center. Word is she spent most of it complaining about gross smells and trying to swap shifts. No one cared. My parents still haven't spoken to me, but my aunt forwarded a message they sent the family group chat. Something about forgiveness and fake news. They're the victims now, again. We didn't respond. Neither did Ellie. She's busy with college applications. One of her essays, What I Learned from a Ruined Birthday. It's honest, calm, braver than I was at 17, braver than a lot of adults I know. We're not perfect, but we're solid. No more family drama, just peace, pancakes, and people who actually want to be in our lives. And honestly, that's better than family. But tell me, did I go too far or just far enough? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.